As you can probably tell by now, if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, I really like the Object 430, and in this match, we got pretty lucky. Looking at the two teams, I know which one I'd rather be on. Northwest isn't a map I particularly like, mostly because, the part I go to, the Northwest, isn't that bad. The problem is pubbies tend to go to the Death Trap, which is the southeast. Once you go down there, because the terrain's low and there's only two very narrow ramps to get off of it, if you go down there, you're basically out of the game. All the enemy team have to do is cut you off at the top of the ramp, and they only need one or two tanks to do that because of the nature of a bottleneck. And so you're stuck down there useless all game. They can actually trap you from both ends depending how hard they push through the rest of the map. So I don't go there. I go north. They have changed the map a little. Previously you would have to cut up the 3-line to quickly get over onto the B-line ridge. Now you can go straight up the 2-line and then just around the little rock promontory at A2. I still like to cut up here though, because it gives me just that little bit more spotting range, and it also gives me the ability to interdict any mediums that try and run along this low road, like that pattern. He's not going to come up now because he's scared. Having stopped him from trying to push up, I now head up here to rejoin with Hardest and push through the North Ridge. Our team's fairly spread out, but that's not necessarily a bad thing since most of them know how to click tanks. Our map control is currently quite good. In fact, we've got a couple tanks breaking through to the enemy side. I was busy typing there, explaining to Hardest why I'd still run down the 3-line even though you don't need to anymore. And that guy gets another pen on me. Actually, I'm surprised that one did pen. At this point I know that he's dealt with, so I refocus the M103. Hardest takes the hit for me, and then we just roll around him. That's really just not fair. That's the way you want to play. If you're playing fair, you're doing something very wrong. I wait here for a minute looking for shots on these guys. After a while I just get impatient and fire off a blind. I don't think that hit the Tiger, but I could be wrong. And I follow Hardest and the T-54 towards the enemy cap, clean out that T-57 and coming behind everybody else. They're obviously all engaged with our forces in the west. They won't be looking at us. This T-57 is the only rear guard they have. And so getting him out of the match is a priority. At this point, I'm pretty sure he's only got one shot left in his clip, so I just rush straight for him. I still got support from the T-54 and Hardest is sweeping in behind me. There goes his last shot, and I'm able to circle around the back of him anyway. He's plainly not pointing his gun at me, he's just focused on running away, so yep, he's on reload. That's an important thing. If you're playing an autoloader, always make sure your gun's pointed at the enemy. Even if you are reloading, it just makes them think twice. If they see your gun pointed away, they know you're on reload, you're defensives. Go through next to clean up the E100, take him on the move. I was going to cut left there, but instead I decided to go up here, so I can work my way around and finish the Tiger. Carefully parachute down, front of an E3, which thankfully shoots at Pershing instead. Hardest picks a bad place to try and parachute down and kills himself. He's trying to Goomba stomp the Tiger. Now normally I'd use a repair kit here, stuck in front of an E3, but I could tell he wasn't looking at me, he had eyes for somebody else, and so I was happy to just sit there and repair. And some OTTER players displaying some really fucking questionable behaviour there. It's not what I would expect from OTTER. I expect trolling, I expect taunting, I don't expect that. I know who this guy is. I don't think I've ever come across him before, but he's not really doing them any favours by saying shit like that in chat. The pubbies cotton onto it as well. Fuck, I'm terrible. It wasn't intentional. The pubbies get onto it as well, so it makes it even worse. You'll have to forgive my completely inappropriate British slang. Anyway, it's cleanup time. But it looks like I'm not going to get there in time to get another shot in because our team is just dogpiling this last T-34. Sure enough, he goes down before I can get there. And a nice little jump. Pretty decent match, aside from the obvious misconduct of certain clan members, shall we say. But it was good fun. Nice, fast, medium game, which is how I like them. The north of this map is really where the magic happens. You need to hold the south instead of push it, because if you end up pushing the south, I mean, with good players you can usually pull it off against bads, but if you have a typical pubby setup of bads versus bads or bads versus goods on the other team, you just cannot afford to push south. What you want to do is position tanks along this sort of strip here to make sure these guys don't push down, excuse me, and maybe a couple tanks up here. Actually, you could cover both paths from here and here. See, the thing is, if they come down here, they're going to have to come up this ramp. That's a really narrow choke point. I think they added, I don't go south, so I don't know the terrain, but I think those are 2 ramps there that they recently added. Even then, it's still a choke point because you can easily hit that from here. So, I mean, and the reverse is true. You have a couple guys defending up around here and you can't get up this hill. You absolutely cannot do it. I've tried. It's fucking suicide. Don't go there. Middle is just really questionable, especially if they have big shit like E100s. They're going to go for the middle because that's just their sort of pubby instinct is, I am big tank, I must go mid. So generally what ends up happening is the people with brain cells go up the one line from south spawn, then cut across, and from the opposite spawn they go along here and then cut down. So that's generally how you want to play this map. I mean, like I said, in mediums I like to run up this road instead and hook back around. It just stops them from pushing anything through here, or if they do, it gives you quick shots on them. The reverse, I like to come down here and then up around that, and then hook in either behind that rock or in this little bowl here, which protects you on your left side and from guys on the hill until they drive over the top to try and shoot you. I mean, most people now just take the one line or the A line in their mediums because it's quicker, but not by much, and it doesn't give you quite the amount of spotting range and potential to ward off enemies as going the way I do does. Thanks for watching. I got plenty more games queued up to record and upload, so there will be plenty more where this came from. Good luck on the field, and see you next time.